You know how sometimes movies take a piece of history and fictionalize it? That's what happened with the story of the 300 Spartans in the movie 300 by Zack Snyder. Oh, and in the Woman King too, about the Dahomey Amazons. Let's go. In the beginning, there was Zeus. No, wait, sorry, wrong Amazon script. Here we go. In the beginning, there were the Fon people, an ethnic group native to West Africa in the modern-day countries of Togo, Nigeria, and Benin. In the 1600s, the kingdom of Dahomey in modern-day Benin, which has nothing to do with the historical kingdom of Benin, kind of like how Ghana has nothing to do with the ancient Ghana, emerged. Along with the kingdom's emergence was that of a group of highly skilled warriors called by different names today, the Yagoji, Mino, or most common, the Dahomey Amazons, because they were born in the Amazon rainforest. Just kidding. It's because the first thing white people thought of when they saw them were the super women of Greek mythology. I will be using all three terms interchangeably. We aren't certain how or why this particular kingdom birthed this particular group, so time for some theories. One account of origin is that they were originally a group of hunters called the Egbeto. A second theory is that they were originally female palace guards. Then there's a third suggestion that it was purely out of necessity because they needed more women in the army to make up the numbers. There are other theories too, but the most interesting theory is that they were originally guards of a Dahomean queen called Hangbe. The problem is, we have no historical evidence for her and she is absent from many Fon oral traditions. The Mino weren't just for show though. At the peak of the kingdom's powers, they numbered up to 6,000 by some estimates. In the Dahomean War, they usually led the charge, often leading the attacks with pre-dawn raids. We don't have an accurate win-loss ratio for them, but the fact that Dahomey became a military power with them at the forefront says a lot about their abilities. French accounts talk about how the women were always the last to leave the battlefield, even noting how in one particular raid, the Amazons won the battle after the male army had been beaten off. To the Europeans, the Amazons were actually more skilled than their male counterparts. They wrote about how fearless they were, how scary they were, how incredibly disciplined they were, how skilled they were in hand-to-hand combat. And some French chroniclers even stated if they had the choice, they would choose the women soldiers over the men. And this was back when there was no equality movement in Europe. So that's saying something. The Mino lost some wars too, most notably twice against the Yoruba of Abeokuta in today's Nigeria. But their successes in battle, especially considering Dahomey's lowly origins, far outweigh their shortcomings. Their rigorous training involved spending up to 9 days in the forest with minimal food and water, and insensitivity training where you had to kill unarmed prisoners of war. A French contingent once witnessed a ceremony where the Amazons climbed walls covered in acacia thorns and wore belts made of these thorns too. So if this is all sounding a bit brutal, that's because it is. The Mino were meant to be brutal, feared beings. The Dahomeans wanted to strike fear into their enemies' hearts even before the war began, and in many cases they did. And society respected them. When they walked in town, they often had a child ahead of them signaling for people to clear a path. The story of these women is so crazy that this video couldn't possibly do it justice. We have a 40-minute episode on a podcast talking about them. Go check it out for more details. Even that doesn't do a perfect job, but it's better. Now, let's get to their demise. Oh, by the way, yes, the Mino were extensively involved in the transatlantic slave trade. Slaves were a major export for the kingdom of Dahomey, so much so that even when the white people said, "We have grown a conscience, no more slave trade." Wait, no, sorry, British. "Oi, we have grown a conscience, so no more slave trade with you lot." Wait, no, sorry, it was the French who dealt with them. I don't know French. Point is that Dahomean royalty were reluctant to give it up. But yeah, it's funny how today there is a statue of Mino in modern-day Benin, despite their brutal history against those who weren't natives of the kingdom. I find it particularly hilarious because imagine if your country was filled with national symbols of those who enslaved your ancestors. No, seriously, imagine. The statue is badass though, and let's be honest, many African kingdoms were into slavery. Like, so many of them. Right, now back to their demise, the French. That's the answer. The kingdom entered a period of slow decline and the Europeans had decided to make Africa theirs. Please note this is a massive oversimplification of matters. And so they fought the French twice, with the French eventually completely conquering Dahomey and forcefully disbanding what remained of the Mino, ensuring that the group was no more. Some Mino did survive, with the last one likely being a woman named Nawi, who died in November 1979, well over 100 years old. Yes, the Amazons were cruel, but they were also powerful representations of what dedication and bravery can attain. And let's face it, just how dangerous a dedicated woman can be. It's like a variation of one proverb from somewhere on the continent says, if you are threatened by a man, sleep at night. If it's by a woman, then stay awake. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.